ripped from inside. That single detail, discovered on a frigid February morning in 1959, is where our story begins. The story of 9 experienced hikers, their ill-fated expedition, and a mystery that continues to baffle investigators to this day. We're heading to the unforgiving Ural Mountains, a vast and desolate landscape straddling the border between Europe and Asia, to unravel the enigma of the Dyatlov Pass incident. Imagine a place of biting winds, deep snowdrifts, and temperatures plummeting far below zero. A place where survival hinges on meticulous planning and unwavering skill. These were conditions the Dyatlov group knew well, seasoned adventurers embarking on what should have been a routine trek. But destiny, it seems, had other plans for them, writing a chilling chapter in the annals of unsolved mysteries. Our protagonists are a team of 9 students and graduates from the Ural Polytechnic Institute, led by the experienced 23-year-old Igor Dyatlov. They were a close-knit group, bound by a love of the outdoors and a thirst for adventure. Among them were Yuri Doroshenko, a strong and dependable young man, Lyudmila Dubinina, known for her vibrant personality, and Semyon Zolotaryov, a war veteran, and arguably the most enigmatic of the group. Each member brought their unique skills and experiences to the table, forming a seemingly unbreakable unit. They planned to ski across the northern Urals to Mount Othrin, a challenging but achievable goal for a team of their caliber. Little did they know that their journey would end in unimaginable terror, leaving behind a trail of unanswered questions and a legacy of fear. Their final photograph, taken just days before their demise, shows them smiling, confident, and utterly unaware of the nightmare that awaited them. This innocent image, now a haunting reminder of their lost lives, serves as a stark contrast to the gruesome discoveries that would soon unfold. The alarm was raised when the group failed to send a prearranged telegram to their families. As days turned into weeks with no sign of the hikers, a search party was mobilized, comprised of fellow students, teachers, and local law enforcement. The urgency was palpable, the harsh winter conditions rapidly diminishing any hope of finding the group alive. On February 26th, the search team stumbled upon the group's abandoned tent on the slopes of Kalatsiekl, or Dead Mountain, in the local Mansi language. The scene was unsettling, to say the least. The tent, partially collapsed and covered in snow, bore a series of long, deliberate cuts along its side, suggesting it had been hastily evacuated from the inside. Personal belongings, including backpacks, clothing, and equipment, were left behind, hinting at a sudden and panicked departure. This was not the scene of a planned campsite. It was the aftermath of something terrifying, something that drove 9 experienced hikers to flee into the frozen wilderness in the dead of night. The initial search focused on the immediate vicinity of the tent, following the footprints left in the snow. The tracks, preserved by the sub-zero temperatures, revealed a disturbing narrative. The hikers, some wearing only socks or a single shoe, had walked together down the slope towards a nearby forest. The footprints indicated a sense of urgency, even desperation, as they moved further away from the relative safety of their camp. This discovery only deepened the mystery, raising questions about what could have possibly compelled them to abandon their shelter in such a reckless manner. Were they running from something, or were they driven by some unseen force? The answers, it seemed, were buried deep within the unforgiving landscape of the Ural Mountains. The first bodies were discovered near a large cedar tree at the edge of the forest, about 1.5 miles from the tent. Yuri Doroshenko and Yuri Krivonishenko were found partially clothed, their bodies showing signs of hypothermia. Branches of the cedar tree were broken, suggesting they had desperately tried to climb it, perhaps seeking a vantage point or refuge from whatever threatened them. A small fire pit nearby offered a grim testament to their struggle for survival. This was no ordinary accident. The evidence pointed to a frantic attempt to escape a terrifying, unknown danger. The initial investigation leaned towards hypothermia as the primary cause of death, but the bizarre circumstances surrounding their demise raised serious doubts. Why would experienced hikers abandon their tent in such a state of undress, and then attempt to climb a tree in the middle of the night? As the search continued, the bodies of Igor Dyatlov, Zinaida Kolmogorova, and Rustam Slobodin were found scattered between the cedar tree and the tent, positioned as if they were attempting to return to the campsite. Dyatlov, the group's leader, was discovered face down in the snow, clutching a small branch. Kolmogorova, known for her resilience, was found further up the slope, suggesting she had been leading the charge back to the tent. Slobodin, despite suffering a fractured skull, had also attempted to make his way back, but ultimately succumbed to the elements. The discovery of these bodies only intensified the mystery, raising more questions than answers. The positioning of the bodies suggested a desperate attempt to retreat, but the underlying cause of their panic remained elusive. What had spooked these seasoned adventurers so badly that they were willing to risk everything to return to their abandoned tent? The discovery of the remaining 4 bodies, Lyudmila Dubinina, Semyon Zolotaryov, Alexander Kolvatov, and Nikolai Thiboksbrignoles, weeks later, deep in a ravine, delivered a chilling twist to the investigation. These victims had sustained horrific internal injuries, far more severe than anything caused by hypothermia alone. Dubinina and Zolotaryov were missing their eyes and tongues. Thiboksbrignoles had a massive skull fracture, while Dubinina suffered multiple broken ribs. These injuries were so severe that they were likened to those sustained in a car crash. The discovery of these bodies shattered any lingering notion of a simple accident. The injuries were undeniably traumatic, suggesting a powerful and external force was responsible for their deaths. The question now was, what kind of force could inflict such devastating damage on these hikers? The investigation took a bizarre turn when traces of radiation were found on some of the clothing. While the levels were not dangerously high, their presence was unexplained and added another layer of complexity to the already perplexing case. This discovery fueled speculation about a possible military experiment gone wrong, or perhaps even the involvement of extraterrestrial forces. The Soviet government, known for its secrecy, did little to dispel these rumors, further shrouding the incident in mystery. Could the hikers have stumbled upon a restricted military zone, triggering a violent response? Or were they victims of a top-secret weapons test? The possibility of a cover-up loomed large, casting a shadow of doubt over the official investigation. The initial investigation was quickly closed, declaring the cause of death as an unknown compelling force that the hikers were unable to overcome. The vague and unsatisfying conclusion only fueled speculation and conspiracy theories, leaving the families of the deceased with little closure. The case files were sealed, further hindering any attempts to uncover the truth. This official silence only served to deepen the mystery, transforming the Dyatlov Pass incident into a legend, a haunting tale whispered among the locals and debated by armchair detectives around the world. The secrecy surrounding the investigation suggested that there was something the authorities didn't want the public to know, a hidden truth that could potentially expose a darker side of the Soviet regime. Over the years, countless theories have emerged to explain the Dyatlov Pass incident, ranging from the plausible to the utterly outlandish. Some believe the hikers were attacked by the indigenous Mansi people, angered by the intrusion into their sacred lands. Others point to a freak avalanche or a sudden, localized infrasound event that induced panic and irrational behavior. Still, others speculate about secret military experiments, rogue weather phenomena, or even the involvement of mythical creatures. Each theory attempts to piece together the fragmented evidence, offering a potential explanation for the hikers' bizarre behavior and gruesome injuries. However, none of these theories fully account for all the facts, leaving the mystery unresolved and the truth shrouded in doubt. The lack of definitive answers has allowed the Dyatlov Pass incident to persist in the public imagination, becoming a symbol of the unknown and the unknowable. One of the most persistent theories centers on the possibility of a military experiment gone wrong. The presence of radiation on the clothing, coupled with the secrecy surrounding the investigation, lends credence to this idea. It's conceivable that the hikers stumbled upon a secret military test site, exposing them to a powerful weapon or a toxic substance that caused them to panic and flee. The severe internal injuries sustained by some of the victims could have been caused by a pressure wave or some other form of non-conventional weapon. However, without access to classified documents and eyewitness accounts, it's impossible to verify this theory definitively. The possibility of a military cover-up remains a dark and unsettling aspect of the Dyatlov Pass incident, raising questions about the lengths to which governments will go to protect their secrets. Another, more recent theory suggests that the hikers were victims of a rare phenomenon known as a slab avalanche. This type of avalanche occurs when a layer of snow collapses under its own weight, creating a massive and unpredictable slide. The unique topography of the Dyatlov Pass region, combined with specific weather conditions, could have created the perfect environment for a slab avalanche to occur. This theory attempts to explain the hikers' injuries as the result of being buried under a heavy layer of snow and ice, causing internal trauma and asphyxiation. While this theory addresses some of the inconsistencies in previous explanations, it still fails to fully account for the hikers' initial panicked flight from the tent and the strange circumstances surrounding their deaths. In 2019, the Russian authorities reopened the Dyatlov Pass incident investigation, seeking to finally put the mystery to rest. The new investigation focused on three main theories: an avalanche, a snow slab collapse, or a hurricane. Investigators conducted new experiments and revisited the original evidence, hoping to uncover fresh insights into the tragedy. However, the renewed investigation ultimately concluded that the hikers died as a result of a combination of factors, including hypothermia.